How are we doing, guys? How's the Hearts? Crystal Palace 0, Leeds United 0, and there's 0-0s go. That was pretty eventful. But Jack, we've just discussed off air. I'll take that. I think that's probably the 3 words I probably used for that game. I'll take that.
I think we were all a bit nervous today because we know the next 3 games, what we've got tonight, were just one of them where we must not lose. You know, it'd have been nice to have got the win. I thought Palace were they were so quick, weren't they? They seemed to be just 100 mile an hour everywhere they went. But it was scrappy. I think I've just one of the first comments I've seen. It was scrappy, but
first word that comes to my mind, that scrappy. It's my word. It was scrappy.
But at this stage of the season and the situation that we are in, we don't care, do we? I don't care about performance anymore. I don't think you can. You know, it'd have been nice to got the win, but I think we've seen a 0-0, 5 games unbeaten. You can't ask for much more at the minute, can you? How things are.
Yeah, the pressure's on, mate, because obviously Burnley, since we last played, have taken 7 points. I guess in hindsight, you can say they played teams that are on the beach who have been on the beach for ages, but I still didn't expect them to take 7 points. So the pressure was on. There's no doubt about that. Obviously, Everton have got some home games coming up. You know, we know they're playing Chelsea on Sunday, and we know it's going to be the Frank Lampard factor that's going to be going into that game, which does worry me. I'm not going to lie, it does worry me if Chelsea might be going a little bit easy on him because we know Mason Mount and all that lot are still best mates with him. So we'll wait and see on that. But no, mate, look, we knew it was going to be a bit scrappy. I'm not massively surprised how the game went. I did feel that at times we'd have to dig in a little bit, have to sort of accept that Palace were going to come on to us from time to time. And I thought, to be honest with you, last 20 minutes they probably finished pretty well, Palace. But yeah, it went a little bit scrappy from our point of view, I think, in the final third. I thought we could have made 1 or 2 better decisions. And maybe look at it and say, is that Adam Forshaw been on the pitch, you know, at some point where you're thinking maybe would have cooled the game down a little bit. But yeah, I want to talk about Zaha because Zaha I thought was embarrassing at times tonight. Well, probably most of the night. I mean, there's one moment in this first half, about 5 minutes to go before half time, where Ayling has won a clean tackle on him, and he's like this, Wilfried Zaha. And I'm thinking, just, you know what I mean? You're thinking, it's just, I don't get it, mate. I just don't get it. You know, we got a player with as much talent as what he's got, why he chooses to do that, and especially when you need the result, it just annoys you that little bit more. But I thought Conor Gallagher was at it as well, to be totally honest with you.
You've just got words out of my mouth there, because I was just going to say Conor Gallagher as well. I thought himself and Zaha tonight were... I thought they were diving a lot, weren't they? I don't know. I think maybe me being a Leeds fan, I would be a bit biased. I mean, Zaha, it were playing as they want. He would just... To me, he's a luxury player, Zaha, and if it's not going his way, and if someone's putting hard tackling on him, he does not like it. He thinks that he's untouchable. And the kid's a good player. You can't deny that.
I think he's had some moments tonight, hasn't he?
I think he just thinks that he's allowed to do what he wants without someone trying to roughhouse him. You know what I mean? I mean, Ayling, a couple of times we're getting into him. I think Klitsch before half time we're giving him a bit of shit house that he wanted. I seen him like that for him, you know, just be quiet. But I think the one that did shock me was Conor Gallagher. You know, Conor Gallagher was thinking about a hell of a lot tonight, and I brought it up with Tash during the game, and I was shocked because I've not seen that from him. But you know,
there's one horrendous one late on, like stoppage time, where he's literally down before I think Rodrigo it was who put it wasn't Rodrigo, sorry, it was Rafinha, I think, who put the boot in, and just clean tackle, but once again gone down. But yeah, it's another clean sheet. That's something to point out as well, David Stevenson.
Sorry, I'm just wondering, but that to me now, at this stage of the season, you keep clean sheet, you've got a point minimum. And at this stage of the season, that's what we need now. It doesn't matter if we don't win another game between now and the end of the season, and we do not concede a goal, and we get 7 points no matter what. If we don't score, we stay up. We do. It's as simple as that. We do stay up. I mean, I was looking at the table now. Not much has changed really, has it?
We've actually gained a point on Everton. That's the point.
We've got 5. We've got 5 on Everton. Played the same games. No, sorry, they've got a game.
We played a game more now.
Yeah, they've got a game in hand of Everton. Obviously, our goal difference is a bit poor. Burnley with their 2 wins, I think that's what put the pressure on everyone, didn't it?
Yeah.
last week or so. It was just them 2 Burnley wins. No one's ever seen that coming, did they?
No,
none of us seen it. No, we thought they were dead and buried. We thought, there's no to worry about now. But Burnley, they're putting up a fight. And that's
especially after Dyche went. I think everyone thought that's probably it. They were accepting they're going to be going into the Championship. But to be fair to Burnley, they have put the pressure on. It's one of them. Obviously they've got to play Villa twice. I think Burnley, home and away. So you don't know what you're going to get from Villa. They're probably a little bit too far clear now. If Villa have a bad 2 games there, all of a sudden Villa could get dragged into it.
Oscar, Villa are only 3 points in front of us with a game in hand. That's a game in hand. That doesn't mean that they've got points. So they are, as you look at it, Villa are actually down there and in that bit of a dogfight. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you've got Palace on 38. We're on 34 with Palace, and they're on 38. Play the same amount of games. There's 15 points to play for. Now till end of the season. There still could be a lot of twists and turns here. Yeah. A lot of twists and turns. And that's why that to me is that point is massive tonight. It wasn't a vintage performance, but the thing what I'm proud of is they actually dug in. They dug in and they wanted to make sure they didn't get beat. It wasn't great as in attacking threat and anything like that. But we were just as defensively we look solid. We don't look like before. I don't want to bring up obviously everything, and he said a sore point for a lot of people with Bielsa, but I don't think we'd have lost that game with him. I don't.
It's one of them. We wouldn't have approached the last 20 minutes the way we did. I don't think. I think that's certainly something fair to say. But it's a weird one, isn't it? In terms of obviously people will argue, well, we beat Palace at home with Bielsa and all that lot. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I think the thing is, it doesn't really matter if we'd have won it with or without Bielsa. But the man we've got in charge is Jesse Marsch, and it's that's what I've got to remember. And I agree with you in terms of the clean sheets are massive. I think certainly when you come into play City, Chelsea, Arsenal, we know in those games we're not going to have a lot of the ball. The way we set up under Jesse Marsch, they can probably keep the ball better than what Palace could tonight. So we're going to have to dig in at times in those games. I do still think on the counter, just needs to be a little bit more sharper today. I felt, get Rafinha into them good areas a few more times. I think later on in the game, probably like 2 minutes ago, Rafinha was just on the wrong side for me. We're putting the ball into on the left wing. I wanted coming into that on his left foot, if you know what I mean, from the right hand side and to get a shot off. But yeah, it's just that's my only slight criticism tonight. But look, this isn't just any game. This is end of the season. We've got 3 horrible games coming up. We're in a relegation dogfight, whether we like it or not. We are in a dogfight. It was never going to be beautiful, free-flowing football. The pressure, the stakes are too high for that. If this isn't a game at the start of August, start of the season, where you can just set your stall out, and if you lose, you've got like 30 games to recover. We can't afford to lose games now.
That time has gone completely, and it's gone for everyone. But this is obviously we've got Man City on Saturday. This is why I think that this point tonight is so important, for the simple reason, right? No one's going to give us a chance against Man City. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to be a little bit different here and think that we have actually got a chance against Man City. And that's for a couple of reasons. One reason to play Real Madrid tomorrow night, Champions League.
John Stone's missing, by the way, in that game.
Right. Okay, I didn't know that. But I actually think that Pep, his priority is Champions League. Because he's won the league, I think his priority is Champions League. They play Real Madrid tomorrow night, then they play us, then they play Real Madrid again. Now, I'm not saying that he's, because Man City can put 2 sides out. It doesn't matter. They've got quality to come in for any position that they've got. They've got, they've got 22 players that can play in every single position and be world class. But I do think when we're getting to this stage of the season, I know we're fighting to stay up. But we will, if they lose a game, and Liverpool, they play Newcastle first again. They play Newcastle on a Saturday early doors.
Yeah, Saturday lunchtime, isn't it?
They beat Newcastle, then the pressure's back on Man City. If we can keep it 0-0 for up to 70 minutes, I do think that Man City could be a little bit shit and maybe go a little bit more, and we could get one chance. I do. I mean, maybe I'm just being.
Well, there will be more open. There'll be more chances to counter against City than what there was tonight. They will come for. City have got to win the game. They've got to win that game.
They have. I mean,
unless Newcastle did something crazy against Liverpool, it might happen. Newcastle on a decent run. Well, they're going to still come out on the front foot against us, no matter what happens.
I think Newcastle's 7 defeated at home or 7 up bounce at home, or something ridiculous. So I mean, obviously they're form team in all Premier League at minute. Newcastle.
That's it. But the thing is, with City, they might think, ooh. If say Newcastle did get something against Liverpool, hypothetical, we know that people might be looking at this thinking this is a bit of a nonsense conversation, but it's not, because if Newcastle beat Liverpool, City have got a chance to effectively win the title at Leeds. But I still think if City go to gung-ho, they haven't got a Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker's out for this game. He's their big defensive option on the counter-attacks because of his pace.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, when you're playing, say if it is John Stones, I think John Stones is a very good defender. I'm not doubting that for 1 minute, but he's not got that same level of pace to get back into position. So if they're playing full on the front foot, you've got to remember, Kyle Walker's a big loss for them in that kind of respect. We've seen that at times this season already when he's been missing. I'm not saying he's their best player, but in terms of that, he's a very, very handy player to have. They're obviously going to be going gung-ho against Real Madrid. There's opportunity there for us, possibly.
I mean, it's like you say, you don't know. I mean, obviously, the big gun is De Bruyne. You know, maybe will Real Madrid, could they target him tomorrow? You know, they could do some shit out. At the end of the day, Real Madrid are going to want to try and get a good lead.
Yeah.
Or get some out of the first game.
It is at Real Madrid, isn't it?
Eh?
It is at the Bernabeu, isn't it, the game tomorrow?
First game's at the Bernabeu, yeah. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to want to get a lead because obviously away goals don't count, do they? So they get a lead and then anything could happen. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a bit of a blessing in disguise. And I think it was last year, wasn't it, when we beat them at the Etihad last year?
Similar circumstances, though.
In between Champions League games, wasn't it? And
exactly.
Pep even said the worst team to play now is Leeds in between two Champions League.
You've got the crowd as well. I mean, the crowd's going to go after them. It's going to be a...
But this last year, if you remember the game against City last year, we'd have won that game. We would. I remember the first 20 minutes, I think City could have probably been 4-0 up in that first 20 minutes. And then we just grew into it and we should have won. And if we'd have had the crowd
there... made save after save, hasn't he?
If we would have had that crowd there that day, we would have won that game against City. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. We'd have beat City at home that night. And it could be a similar case scenario. Remember, it's 5:30 on a Saturday night. You'll have a load of Leeds fans. Probably 95% of them will have been out all day. So they'll be well tanked up. I'll have been one of them. And the crowd they'll be getting behind them. It'll be noise like you've not heard. It will. And they'll get behind them, and they'll get behind them properly.
The other thing I'll say about that is we know City will try and play out the back. We know how City are going to play. Everyone knows how Pep team's going to play against us. Pep's not going to change for anyone. But the thing is, you saw from that cup game against Liverpool, when they made a couple of changes at their back, 𝐃𝐍𝐄 came in, 𝐍𝐋𝐄, good players, but made a lot of mistakes playing out the back against Liverpool. And you saw the difference when, I don't think City will play Laporte, Cancelo, people like that. I think they might just rest one or two in the back four. And for once, they're not as good defensively. Secondly, they're not as good on the ball. We might get... Look, if City are anywhere near at their best, it's going to be a very, very difficult game. There's a lot of things that have to go for us to... And last season, a lot of things went for us. As good as we were, a lot of things went for us. But from seeing that tonight in a different way, I'm thinking... We defended really well tonight. I thought the two centre-backs, just to go back on to tonight, I thought Llorente, yes, a couple of times, a few stray passes out the back, but I thought in terms of just pure penalty box defending, I thought Llorente was superb. Cooper's block at the end. Look, there was a few mistakes from the lads tonight. It was a bit nervy from time to time, but I thought those two at the back, I thought were absolutely fantastic. Mellier's made a couple of really good saves when he's had to. I think defensively... I'm actually really positive with what we've done tonight. I think first 20 minutes, they had a few chances, but I can't think of that many clear cutters that they've had tonight, really, Palace. They've got good players. They've got good players, Jack, haven't they? Eze, we know how good Eze is from the Championship for QPR. We know how good a player he is. Elise, the good footballers, these.
It's like saying there. I mean, if I were going to give that performance a rating, I'd give it a good, strong 7.5/8 out of 10. not for the attacking, how good we were going forward at all, because I thought that, and I thought the passing were, left a lot to be desired tonight. But I thought the spirit and the endeavour was what we need at this time of the season. Do you know what I mean? It's like, to me, it's not about performances now. It's about points on the board. That's what it is, And
do you think Burnley were playing free-flowing stuff yesterday?
We could have had 75% possession, 13 shots on target, just absolutely battered someone, and still come away with a 0-0 draw. It doesn't matter, does it? You've still got 1 point, no matter how you play it. And that's at this state of the season now, and where we are, that's all that matters. We need to just keep getting the odd points here and there, because the next 3 games are very, very tricky. City, Chelsea, Arsenal. You know what I mean? City going for the title, Chelsea going for Champions League, Arsenal going for Champions League. They're all going to want to get points, you know what I mean? But if we show the defensive determination as what we've shown tonight, I guarantee the City game won't be a 7-0. I can say that now, and I will bet my house on it. It won't be a 7-0 like it was in the start of the season. It won't. This is getting clips. I'm telling you now, they've got more.
I know what you're saying. I agree.
Yeah, they have. It won't, but it's like, say there, Toby, LUFC, 5 unbeaten now, and he has done a job. Jesse Marsch, he's still not being took properly to people's hearts because of obviously Marcelo Bielsa, which there's no problem with that. But as I've always said, one man is not bigger than the club. The club need to stay in the Premier League, and it's simple as that. And no matter what you say, and you can be the most blind Bielsa lover ever, but if we'd have kept going with our Marcelo Bielsa now, we wouldn't have been even with a fight of staying up. We'd have probably been second bottom. We'd have probably been 8 points, 9 points adrift. And I'll probably maybe get a slag in here, but I know it would never going to change, would it? It won't. So it shouldn't be about this isn't what we're on about now. That's all been and gone. But it's just, I think a lot of comments now is still quite a sort of a touchy subject among.
Yeah, it is. I understand why. Look, I understand why. We look back in the Bielsa, we played some really good. We played the top 6, didn't we? And we had heavy defeats. And look, everyone's got different opinions on Bielsa. I think on all these TV, we've all got different kind of views on what could and should have happened and all this lot, and did we do the right thing? The bottom line is, in terms of we've got Jesse Marsch in, I don't see how anyone can argue there's not been an improvement in performances. Maybe not so much tonight in terms of on the ball, but in terms of all-round performance, in terms of defensively and attacking, I think. Look at the stats. I mean, today we've scored more goals, we conceded less, we took more points. The things that really matter. And look, I know people, it's a touchy subject. We've not played any of the top 6 yet. I get all that. But you can only take what you've got so far from these first 7 games. And I think it has been positive so far. I am not saying Jesse Marsch is the next Marcelo Bielsa. I'm not saying that at all. I don't think any of us are saying that. I think if he achieves even half of what Marcelo Bielsa achieves, I think we'll all be happy. But this is the thing, we've got to look at the here and now. It's no good talking about next season in terms of, what if we're playing this kind of football next season, long ball and all this lot. It's needs must in terms of the way in terms of the injuries we've got. You haven't got an Adam Forshaw in midfield, in terms of it makes it so much easier, I think, on a night like tonight, just to play it through the lines, in terms of keeping the ball. For me, he's our best player at doing that, in terms of keeping the ball in midfield. You've seen the difference he's made this season when he's been on and off the pitch. I think tonight showed it at times in terms of when we're playing. So you've got to think of that. That's a big injury. Bamford obviously has been, has he played 1.5 games under Marsch so far? We've got a lot of injuries, so we've had to kind of go about it in a different way. So it's all about staying up. We've got to look at the here and now. I know long term, you can say about what we're going to do in the summer and all this lot. You've got to stay in the league first. This is the best league in the world. You've got to remember, this is the best league in the world. Crystal Palace are 14th in the table. The league this year, I don't know if you'd agree with this, Jack, has improved a lot, I think. I think in terms of the quality across the league, Crystal Palace last season under Hodgson were 14th. Crystal Palace under Vieira are 14th. That, to me, tells you the league's improved, because Crystal Palace are a far better team now than what I saw them as last season. I think a lot of teams are like that. The fact that Everton are struggling so much shows you that, Everton aren't that much different to what they've been in the past. I just think the league is a lot better now. And I'm not making excuses. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying that I'm just giving a reason for me why I think we're seeing maybe it being a little bit more scrappy, a bit more needs must, a bit more. Let's just get to the summer and just reassess things. I think that's just what we need to do now. Where we are on the table, that's what we've got to do. And mate, this is the best league in the world, and to any point, any win is massive. I mean, there was people turning their nose up at the Norwich win. I know it wasn't the easiest of wins, but any win you can get is absolutely massive. And I just think now, if we can get one more win, I know it's going to be easier said than done. It's going to be easier said than done, but how massive would that be? How massive would that be if we just get?
I'm just going to give my sort of me analysis on the last 5 games. Right, City. I think it'll be a 2-0 defeat. City. I think we'll get beat 2-0 at home by City. And this is where I'm going to go now. I think we'll get a point against Chelsea. I'm confident we'll get a point against Chelsea.
The Chelsea game. It's the week of the cup final, isn't it? I think.
Well, that's
pretty
it.
Sure.
I mean, they're going to be going for Champions League, but I think I just got a funny feeling we can get a point against Chelsea. The Arsenal game, I think that could be a defeat.
That's the one I fear the most, the Arsenal game.
Yeah, is it? Well, I think the Brighton will be the game we get the win. But the one thing that I am panicking about more than anything out of all this year is that if we have to go to Brentford to stay up and Thomas Frank sends us down, I'll give up football. I will give up football if Thomas Franks is the man that actually sends us down. I will just be like, I've finished. That would kill me. It would finish me off. Thomas Franks actually sending Leeds United down. It would.
What relaxes me a little bit about that, and I know what you're saying. I've looked at that game for a while, to be fair, and thought, Ivan Toney, last game of the season, and Eriksen swinging balls into the box. Please don't. Please don't need the result in that game.
Pontus might realise, hold on a minute, I know where I'm really belong here. I don't want to send these down or something like that. That's the one. That's the one game. If Thomas Frank sent us down, it'd finish me off. It'd finish me off.
We just got to make sure we're not going into that game needing the result. Yeah. But I think Everton have got to go to Arsenal on the last day. So Everton, look, I know Everton have got some home games that you think are relatively winnable, but they've still got to play Arsenal and Chelsea. I mean, if Chelsea the thing with Chelsea, the Chelsea game for me and Everton is that I just have that horrible feeling it's Lampard. You just know subconsciously the narrative's going to be there. Are Chelsea going to do Lampard a favour here and all this? You know what it's like, mate. You know what it's like. I'm sure you're thinking similar things. But it's our job now. It's still in our hands.
I mean, we're talking about all ifs and maybes and what have you, but at the end of the day, everything's in our hands. There's nothing. Yeah. If we won every game till now, till end of the season, nothing can happen. It can't. We're 5 points in front of Everton. Even if they won their game in hand, they're having us now. There's still 2 points behind us. The problem that we have is the goal difference. Obviously, we have got a massive goal difference to everyone.
We can't recover it now either. It's too late.
It's impossible.
Too big and too late.
That's like, to me, that's like an extra point, isn't it? It's like an extra point lost, that goal difference that we've got at the minute. But as long as, let's just keep picking a couple of points up. Burnley, maybe they've had their Indian summer now over the last 2 games. I don't know. Obviously, it's one of them things, isn't it? What is something in the background there at Burnley that obviously no one knows about, and they said, no, Dyche, you have to go now, and the players have felt invigorated. No one knows what goes on in football clubs that are really deep down. You can listen to reports, you can hear the rumours, you can hear social media, you can hear whatever you else, but no one knows deep down, apart from them players and the staff, what's going on at that football club day in, day out. You know what I mean? See, we don't know.
Even if it's just a new voice, because Dyche has been there 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. I don't want to go back to our club, but we seem to have had a bit of invigoration as well, don't we? We seem to have had a bit of a lease of life. We don't look as. This is the thing. What I'm loving at the minute, we just don't look like we're going to concede every time another team attacks. Tonight, even when we were watching Palace and they had a few breaks and things like that, but we just look as solid back 4. And the 4 in front of them, they're solid. Nothing's getting past them, either. They're just Cooper again. He's so underrated. Is Liam Cooper? He is, and I think people.
Is he our best centre back for you? Is he our best centre-back for you, Coops?
Without a doubt, he is. I mean, I look at Llorente sometime and I watch him and he looks like a Sunday League player when he strolls out with ball and he starts stumbling about all over the place. I mean, he just, I don't know, sometimes he don't...
I thought his defending was strong tonight. I thought that was what his best... I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying in terms of on the ball, some daft mistakes tonight, but I thought when he had to defend, his decision-making was spot on.
That's what he's there for, isn't he? Put your head in the way, put a foot in the way, put a block, put a tackle. That's what you're there as a defender. You're not there as a Messi or a Xavi or an Iniesta in centre midfield, are you? You know, you're there to clear the ball, boot it as far up the field and stop some other team from scoring. And that's what you're there for as a defender, not to be fancy and just, you know, basics. It's like you say, it's just basic.
That's what I was so happy with between those two.
Go back to basics, you know, not trying to play out and melee, rolling it out to an edge of box. Forget all that now. Just freaking make sure that nothing's getting past you, and they're doing that now. And that's why we're grinding out these points. You know, it's not pretty. You know, it's not pretty. The Watford game, we got 3 goals. It still wasn't pretty. It were awful to watch, but it don't matter. This don't matter now, does it? It don't matter. It's points and points and points. That's all that matters now to keep them in that league.
The way I look at it, Jack, is that we keep it tight at the back. You've got Rafinha at the top end of the pitch. Rodrigo's playing, I think, his best football for Leeds, I think, since Marsch come in. Jack Harrison's on the goal-scoring run. We've got enough at the top end of the pitch if we keep it tight at one end, to make a difference at the other end. And that's what we've done against Watford, Wolves, Norwich. You know, that's the thing. This is the thing I'm kind of trying to say. You know, in terms of, I'm sure you've seen some comments coming in here about Marsch's style of football. This probably won't be Marsch's style of football. This is just to get us through to the end of the season. You've got to realise we're not in a situation. We've not had a pre-season. We've not had a transfer window. We've not had this and that. Don't judge Jesse Marsch's style just on what you're seeing right now. Give him a pre-season. Let's try and get through this season first. Give him a pre-season, a transfer window, and then start to make judgments for me. That's the only point I'm going to make.
It's the exact point you're saying there. When, obviously, you know, when they made the decision that, you know, we had to go on a different route and, you know, we had to replace Marcelo, I'm sure the first remit that when Jesse Marsch came in and sat in the office, he said, you need to keep us in this Premier League. I don't care how you do it, how you go about it, but you have to get the points to keep us in the Premier League. That'll have been his first remit. Then he'll go away. He's picked a side up that have been used to a certain mentality in a certain way for the last so many years. Yeah, I'll agree with that, actually. Set piece have already improved massively. Yeah, I'll agree with that completely, Sasha. But I'm just, you know, he'll have been told we have to just stay in this league. Now, he's took on a group of players that have been used to a certain way of playing, a certain way of training, a certain way of everything for the last 2 years. He's got to make them adapt to a certain way of thinking as well. And you can't do that overnight. You can't. It's impossible to do that overnight. Now, he's adapted in a short space of time, 5 games unbeaten. Now, we'll get to the end of the season. Fingers crossed, we're still in this league next year. Then, next year, judge him on how good he's going to be. Judge him on the performances. Judge him on what sort of players he brings in. Judge him on the tactics. But at this minute in time, his tactics are working because we're getting points. And that for me is all that matters. It's not about performances now. It isn't. You know what I mean? Everton yesterday against Liverpool, for however long it was, they shithoused that game. Their tactics were to slow it down, to dive about, to just stop Liverpool playing, because you cannot go toe-to-toe with Liverpool. It's impossible. They will absolutely destroy you. So their tactics were to try and do that, but in the end, they obviously got beat. But tonight, you know, we that's what we've done. You just see the game out, get the point, move on to the next one.
I think as well, I'd say, is that we did at least try and play football tonight. There's no doubt about that. I think a lot more than what Everton did. I know what you're saying about Everton, but Everton, it was only going one way. They were just letting Liverpool attack, and they didn't really have anything going the other way, I felt. But I thought tonight, at least we had something going the other way. Against City, we'll have a threat going the other way. We'll try and get that ball into Rafinha when we can. And that's it. And I think Everton in the end, you know, I can see why they went with that approach, but I just think Marsch, tactically, is just that he's better than Frank Lampard for me. I think there's no doubt about that. I think the thing with Everton, I don't think anyone's fearing Everton because of Frank Lampard in terms of keeping them up. I think it's because of what Everton have got going forward. In terms of the players they've got. It's nothing to do with the tactics and that. It's just the fact that they've got good players in that team. Doucouré, Demarai Gray, Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison. They've got players that can do a lot more than what they're doing. But this is it. I think tactically, Jesse Marsch has just been absolutely... I think he's been pretty spot on, to be fair. Look, I know that Villa home game's the one that it went wrong in that game. There's no doubt about that. But I think, to be honest with you, the other 6 or 7 games outside of that, I think tactically it's been pretty much spot on.
I'm just going to say about that Villa game. Remember, he don't just come in. He's taken over, and it would have broken changing room. I don't care what you say. It would have broken changing room. The heads were all over the place. He's took them in, and they played. We got absolutely battered by Villa, but I think he was still trying to find out bits and bats about the players, and he'd only had a week. Whatever a week.
You can't blame Jesse Marsch for that Villa one. That was just
you can't, and you can't. But you can see after that, he's looked at things, and I mean, another big thing for me, which I like, the trust he's putting in Sam Greenwood. I know tonight he came on, he wasn't so great, but I mean, the Watford game, he changed the game. He changed the game at Watford.
Made 2 assists in half an hour.
He's seen these players now, and I think next year it's looking promising. A couple of additions. Hopefully, we'll see what goes on with Rafinha and Calvin. I mean, I'm sort of resigned that Rafinha's going to go. I don't think he's going to go in summer. I don't think his head's here now. I think he's trying to fight to make sure Leeds stay in the league, but I don't think that he wants to go on to other things and be challenging for trophies and things like that, where I think Calvin's got more of an affiliation to the club.
I think this is the thing when you got top class players. I mean, we've got to remember that for like 20 years, we've not really had players as good as Rafinha and Phillips. We've had the odd one, but I don't think there's been anyone at that level. Certainly at Rafinha and Calvin's level. I know we've had your Max Gradles, your Ross McCormack's, all these different kind of players, Robert Snodgrass's. But I think in terms of Rafinha, Calvin, in terms of doing it in the top league I'm talking, and the Euros for Brazil, all this lot. We've not had this for a long, long time. Football's changed a lot since we had, your Mark Vidukas and that lot. It's changed a lot.
Yeah,
it's natural we're going to be looking at these players and thinking, obviously the top 6 might be having a look at them and all this lot. It doesn't really worry me that much. Certainly at this stage, for me, it's just about staying in the league and just looking at the summer then, in terms of I'm not thinking too far. I know what you're saying. I know obviously there's been 1-2 links and all this lot, but for me, my main thing is Rafinha, is his head fully in it in terms of on the pitch. I think you look at his emotion. I mean, you look how the work rate he's putting in defensively as well when he's covering on that right-hand side, covering on that left-hand side. He had to work. He had to run a lot tonight. You know what I mean? He didn't get on the ball as much as he would have liked. But I still felt, Jack, that on that pitch tonight, the best player on the pitch, the player who I thought would get the ball into him, who could make a difference on both teams, was Rafinha. Whenever we did get the ball into dangerous areas, he did make things happen. And for me, I think he's a better player than Wilfried Zaha. I think he's a far better player than Wilfried Zaha, to be honest with you. I think he's a better player than Eze as well. I still feel that these last 5 games, in terms of all the teams that are down there, I think I said this before after the Watford game, I don't think in Everton, Burnley have got a Rafinha in the final third who can just make the difference like that. Norwich at home, that work he did for the winning goal, the Watford goal, the goal out of nothing, who could just produce a moment out of nothing, an absolute moment out of nothing. He's a genius. He's a genius on that football pitch for Leeds United. He's our Messi. He is our Messi, honestly. Seriously, I'm not saying he's at that quality.
He's not that level. He's not that level.
I know that. But in terms of what he does, in terms of producing a moment out of nothing, he is in terms of just that jack in the box who can just win. Hey, I like that. Do you like that? Jack in the box. Can just produce a moment out of absolutely nothing. I think that's what he...
There's something I want to bring up tonight. And when I seen the team, when I seen the lineup come out, I seen the formation, and I seen Dan James again up front, and I thought, he's just the same error again here. It's the same mistakes again. But I'm going to give Dan James... you watch Dan James, I've never seen anyone work as hard. He just absolutely runs his socks off. And I think it was just my thing of the day. I think Chris himself just put a comment up. It's somewhere, it's just gone now. But that tackle he did on that Joe Ward, and he absolutely smashed him, didn't he, out on the right? When
Ward reacted, I didn't think he was that bad.
It would have fantastic for me. I thought he had every right to go for the ball, and I love that. And he didn't like it, but I just think I want him on wing. I don't want him up front. I want him on the wing, Dan James. I do.
I think he would. But he would be on the wing though if Bamford was available. I think he would be, to be honest. I know what you're saying. I just think James is up top, as you said, for that work rate. I think that's the main thing. It is when we're trying to press from the front. When you got James there, Harrison harrying, Rafinha harrying. Maybe Rodrigo not quite on the same kind of level in terms of off the ball work and that lot, in terms of being able to get right up close to a defender and win the ball off him. I just think those three, in terms of, I thought we actually pressed really well tonight. First 60 minutes or so, I thought we forced them into a lot of mistakes. We just didn't quite punish them. They might say the same about us. But I can see why James starts up top. I think maybe next season he will go back onto the wing for me. I do think he goes on the wing.
I do. I think he's. I just think he needs to be on wing. I mean, that pace, there were a couple of balls down that wing though. Once you can see defenders don't even bother chasing after him. They think, I'm going to get back in a position because I'm not catching you, mate. There's not a chance I'm going to catch you.
I genuinely think he's the fastest player in the league now. I genuinely think he's the fastest player in the league.
I think a lot of them defenders know it. There's like no point in trying to just make sure you get back into your position. Do you know what I mean? But I think he's wasted as a striker. I do. And I really do. I don't think it's good for him either. I think he needs to be on the wing and doing things and doing bits. I do.
I think it's another one of those things you always saying before about the needs must and let's do what we can do right now. I just think that's the reason for it. I think he just makes us. I mean, he just hassles Harry's defenders, and he allows us to get us up the pitch in that lot with his pace and that lot. I know what you're saying. I don't think long term that is the plan. I think even under Marcel Bielsa, I don't think the plan was to play Dan James up top. I think it's just the fact we've had injuries. We want to keep pressing. Rodrigo's been more of a number 10 than a 9. I think when we got Rodrigo in, we all thought it was going to be a number 9. Back end of last season, he gets those goals against Burnley, finishes the season really well. Spain's number 9, all this and that. But it's just not worked out that way for Rodrigo. He's been more of a number 10. And we've kind of had to put James in to make runs for him and create space for him. And I think long-term, 𝐃𝐎𝐍𝐶 Gelhardt will be the long-term number 9 for the football club. I do genuinely think that. I think he's that good. But yeah, and then obviously it depends on Bamford then in terms of...
I'm going to
he might go over 10. I don't know 𝐃𝐿HEI, to be honest.
I think he's just too small to be a number 9. I do. I think he's one of your big centre halves. He's a fantastic player. I mean, you could say Rooney were only small and he was stocky, same sort of stature as what Gelhardt is. But I don't think Gelhardt at his age were what Rooney was. I mean, when Rooney was 17, he come on and he just smashed that goal past him, and he were a special talent. And then that was it. The rest is history with Rooney. No matter what you're saying, who he played for, Rooney were a fantastic player. Gelhardt now, we know he's a good player, but the couple of games he's come on, I mean, he came on tonight and not a lot happened with him. I know it's
hard game to come on in though.
It wasn't a hard game to come on. This is what I say. I'm being a bit probably a bit overcritical here, but I do think that Leeds fans are getting a bit excited, a bit overexcited about him. You know, we know he's a good player. Does he need a couple of starts? Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he does. That's what he needs, a couple of starts.
I'm talking after a pre-season, mate. I'm talking after a pre-season, 90 minutes playing to centre forward in this team is what I want to see more of in terms of, but we can't do it right now because we're in the middle of a relegation dogfight. But I know what you're saying, mate. I certainly think long term he'll be a better option in there than Dan James, and I think that'll be in Jesse Marsch's mind. Even Sam Greenwood, I think, will be probably more likely to start as a centre forward after a pre-season and getting fully used to the system. But we've got talent in that academy, mate. I think it's great credit to Mark Jackson. I think obviously I'm so happy with Mark Jackson getting that promotion, by the way, because he's been a very underrated part of this football club, I think, for a long, long time. But yeah, you see how many academy lads have come through in the last couple of weeks and made a difference. Obviously Sam Greenwood, 𝐃𝐎𝐍𝐶 against Norwich, all these Charlie Creswell against Wolves. I mean, me and you are we're on the Charlie Creswell in the England squad at the next World Cup hype train, aren't we?
I think I love Charlie Creswell. Well. I'll tell you something. You could put Charlie Creswell in his Tyson Fury in his next fight. I'm telling you, he'd have a go. He's that big.
I think he's the best fight of the lot. I think give him the best fight of the lot.
He probably would, the size of him, wouldn't he? But no, I'm a massive fan of Charlie Cresswell. I just think he's just a natural defender. He's someone who's just going to shove his head in way of everything. He's just going to block. He is, yeah, Logs W, absolutely, 100%. He's a monster. He's a beast of a man. And he's such a young lad, isn't he, as well? What is he, 19? Is he 20-year-old yet?
19 years, 19. I think he's 20 this year.
There you go, you know what I mean? I remember seeing his dad play for Leeds. You know what I mean? So, and his dad was a striker. Wouldn't that have been nice now, see him against his dad, defending against striker? He'd fucking smash his dad all over the place, elbows, wouldn't he, a lot.
I bet he was when he was about 8. He was probably smashing his dad when he was about 8, to be fair, Charlie Cresswell.
He's my type of defender, Charlie Cresswell. Love him a bit. Proper love him. And hopefully next year, we'll see. You know what I mean? If he pushes on, good pre-season. But I think he's ready. I've said it for a long time now. I think that kid could start. I don't think he'd ever let us down. I don't.
It hasn't done when he's come in, but yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Obviously, a couple of comments coming in. I mean, there's a lot of focus on like next season. And look, I've been guilty of it myself because I'm genuinely excited in terms of the way Jesse, I think already is seeing. He's been very willing to promote the academy, which is really good. And I think next season, when the pressure's a little bit less on, I think you'll see more of that. But it's about getting there now. It's about getting to there. And look, I want to say this as well. I thought the fans absolutely superb. I thought the atmosphere, to be fair, for a Premier League game, it's the best I've seen it outside of Ellen Roads. I thought both sets of fans really came across well on TV, to be honest with you. But yeah, unbelievable effort from the Leeds fans today. In terms of that, the fact it's an 8 o'clock Monday night in London, that's just typical of Sky to do that, but
it would only I mean, I had a ticket for it, and that's why I'm here, obviously, thingy, but it was meant to be on the Saturday, and then Sky decided to rearrange it a couple of weeks back, didn't they, for TV. But I mean, we can all moan and carry on, but that's why Sky have all the rights, because they put the money in, don't they? So no one can carry on. That's why these players are getting paid so much money every week, and you're seeing top level football. But it's not good for fans. It's not good for fans at all.
No, exactly. It's one of those things. Yeah, it's been a frustrating season, hasn't it, really? I'm well and moan about a lot of things this season, but that Sky thing, rearranging the game last minute to the Monday, is just been typical of this season. To be honest, mate, everything that could have gone wrong this season has gone wrong, really, if we're being totally honest. I know there's been criticism here and there and that lot, but we've had the luck's not gone with us, has it, really, in terms of injuries, in terms of little bits and pieces, some of the penalties, decisions that have gone against us as well. You're just thinking, and it all adds up. I just think, let's get to the end of this season and just regroup. That's all I'm interested in right now in the here and now. Those last 5 games, let's do what we have to do. Let's talk about man the match.
I'm just going to bring that up. Russ has asked Oscar Jack, who's your man of the match for tonight? I'm going to say Ayling. Ayling's my man of the match tonight. I thought for a few reasons. I thought he got in Zaha's head. I thought he wound up Zaha. Thank you, John. And I just thought everything about Ayling's game tonight were fantastic. I thought he were brilliant. But I just want to, again, Liam Cooper, I just think he's just so underrated. You know, he's had that tag of League One Liam. But I think just recently, when he has been out, we've seen we have not got a leader. We literally, not so much a centre-half, but we haven't got a leader. He is our captain. As the song goes, he's our captain, our leader. And, you know, that's it. And he is. And you can see the difference he makes. And I think the players trust him. The players trust him being there, you know, and he's directing them. Because this year, I always remember the game that impressed me most. The one player that has impressed me more than anyone this year, any single game, and it was Liverpool at home, it was Virgil van Dijk. And I watched Virgil van Dijk. Now, Virgil van Dijk does not move 10 yards to his left or 10 yards to his right. He never moves anywhere. But you watch him, he's constantly, he's like an orchestra. He orchestrates everything that Liverpool do. He's constantly directing them, move. And it was unbelievable to see that top level footballer. I'm not saying Liam Cooper's at that level, but that's what he wanted. He never had to move. He was always in the right position, and it would inspire him to watch, you know, and see. That's what level you have to be, you know, to be a top player. Just to, your anticipation to understand the game and see the game properly. And he's looking at the game, even as a striker's point of view. You could see he's screaming at Mo Salah, move, move, move. And I think all that game we were getting destroyed. And I just kept watching Van Dijk, and it was fascinating to watch, you know, to see them that top caliber players. But I think that we've got, obviously, I'm not putting Cooper on that level, but we've got someone like that. He's constantly directing them. I mean, if you were a rugby league fan, Kevin Sinfield with Leeds Rhinos, he used to do the same thing. He constantly directed them. You can see now they've gone absolute dog shit since he left. You know what I mean? Because they haven't got a leader that's constantly telling them, come on, keep going, do this, do that, do the other. And I think we've got one in Cooper. And he's a very, very much underrated. He is.
I think his positioning for that block, how easy he made it look, that last-ditch block on Gallagher, was it, late on? If you remember that one, Jack.
Absolutely.
It's just understanding. I don't know how many games Cooper's played for us now. I can't imagine it's probably over 200 now, isn't it? He's played a lot of games. You've got to remember he's into his 30s now. He's coming towards his peak now. And I think he's in his peak now, to be totally honest with you, in terms of what he's doing. I think he's playing absolutely superbly. For me, he's been man of the match, I'd say last 3 games, to be honest with you. I'd probably go that far and say last 3 games. I think he's stood out massively. I know I'm saying about Rafinha being at the top end of the pitch, being our big difference maker, as is Rodrigo. Calvin's obviously key in midfield, but I think Cooper, in terms of these last 3 games, has been the big part, the clean sheets. Massive part of that. And as you say, it is like an orchestra. And that's what I think the best centre-backs do. I mean, everyone talks about technical quality. You know, we were saying before about being able to play fancy passes and, you know, little flicks and, you know, just look good on the ball and all this lot. For me, the best defenders, I don't care how much the game's changed, all this lot, Klopp, Pep, all these different kind of managers, the best defenders are still the ones that can lead the whole back four, push the whole back four up the pitch,
100%.
you know, keep it high up the pitch, not dropping too deep, conceding stupid free kicks, stupid set pieces, everyone's out of position. It all just felt so organised tonight. And we're playing against a good team here. Eze could have pulled us apart. Zaha could have pulled us apart. We didn't give them that time or space to do it. And as you said, I thought Aiden was really good, especially second half. I think he got away with maybe 1 or 2 fouls in the first half. And I think that referee, any opportunity he could have got, he'd have given Aiden the cards. Any opportunity he'd have got, he'd have given Aiden the card, because the fans were getting on top, putting pressure on him. Zaha's diving all over the place. I thought Aiden coped with Zaha superbly tonight. And I've seen a lot of players this season. You know, we've got to remember, Man City lost at home to Palace, I think, and drew away at Palace. So they're no mugs, Palace. They've got very good players. I don't care where they are on the table. They could well finish in the top half. Palace.
I thought Palace looked very, very lively tonight. And I thought they were so much quicker than us for a lot of that game. The passing, the movement, everything. They looked quick. I mean, they've got a lot of quick players anyway. Eze, Zaha, Conor Gallagher. He's quick anyway. He's speed of movement, he's speed of thought, and you know, he's a good player.
They've recruited well, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, and they've got a good coach in Patrick Vieira. You know what I mean? He's one of the best midfield that has played the game, isn't he? You know, so he knows his onions. There's no problem. They're a good side, Palace. They're a good side.
We've got to remember as well, Palace, they've had a pre-season under Vieira. They played 40 odd games now under Vieira. They're a lot further into what they're trying to do than what we are under Marsch. And there's no reason why, you know, in a year or so's time, we can't be doing the same kind of thing in terms of recruitment and all this lot. There's no reason why we can't do that. You know, in terms of, I think we're in a similar situation to what Palace were in, to be honest. We just need to keep ourselves in alive this season.
God willing, and if everything goes well, we'll go into his 3rd season in Premier League, yeah. And that, to me, now, to get past that 2nd year, I think that's when you can look and think, right, we can start building a bit here now. Let's start, maybe just splash that extra little bit of money. Just go for a bit. Yeah, I remember that, actually. I remember that. But I think that's when he dived, didn't he? Or he was trying to get a foul and referee just let it go on, didn't he? And it was scandalous, like a Marsch, his head went. But I was just going, you know, we're going to the 3rd year in the Premier League. I think you can sort of not relax, because every year, it doesn't matter how long you've been in there, you could get relegated. It doesn't matter. Unless you're obviously one of the top level teams, which we're not yet, but that's what we're building to be. But
even then, Jack, even then, they can get themselves in bother. You know, we've seen Everton this season.
But people, and this is always, can always go back to the dark days of Peter Ridsdale, you know, just spending money that we didn't have. And we could never, ever make them same mistakes again. Do you know what I mean? You've got to keep your house in order. I mean, people will go on and say, oh, yeah, we're getting X amount of money for this, X amount of money for that. But yet you've got to imagine, you've got to remember that these players actually now get more money, get bigger bonuses. You know, a lot, people think that, yeah, we're getting this amount of money in, but there's a hell of a lot still goes out. And there is, you know, and you've got to remember that, you know, we haven't got the commercial pull of a Man City, of a Liverpool, of a Man United that are earning probably an extra 500 million a year in shirt sales worldwide and things like that. We're not at that level. So we have to still keep his house in order, you know what I mean? And we have to look at, balance the books, make sure things are right, you know, look at Burnley. I'm not saying that we're on their sort of model, we're a bigger club than Burnley, but they still, for years and years, kept in the Premier League they didn't spend what they couldn't afford because they were obviously paying big wages out. They don't get big crowds. They don't get a lot of commercial revenue coming in with shirt sales, things like that. Burnley are just a Burnley, aren't they? But they stayed in there every year, year in, year out. You know, and people say, oh, Dyche were never given money to spend because they didn't have money to spend. As daft as it seems, when you think, yeah, you get 100 million for finishing bottom at Premier League, but your outgoings every year, you think the money when you're during the summer, them players are all on holiday for whatever, 6-8 weeks. You've still got to pay their wages every single week, the same money what they're on, no matter what. So you've got no income. And that's what it is. People don't understand, like, sort of the economics of it in that way. That there's, during the summer now, there's no income coming in, just your fuel shirt sales. And if you're not a big club, you're not getting a massive income. But you've still got a massive, massive outlay. And you've got to balance it in that way. I'm sorry for going on an economics rant here. Like,
no, I understand what you're saying. It's what we've got. This is the toughest league in the world. There's a lot of reasons why people say this is the number one in the league in the world. A lot can change quickly. I mean, look, from last season to this season, a lot's changed really, really quickly. I mean, the way we finished last season, I don't think anyone envisaged what's kind of happened this year. And that's it, really. There's a lot of different ways of going about it. As you say, Burnley have kept it tight in terms of what they spent. Brentford, to be honest with you, I know we don't like to praise Brentford on this channel, but look, give credit for Brentford for what they are. And let's be honest, they are a small club compared to the rest of the league. They've done unbelievably well in terms of recruitment. Palace, have done well in terms of recruitment. And it's just all about, it's a learning thing, isn't it? These teams, Palace, Burnley, have been in the Prem for a long time. As you sort of said, the third season, I feel, is psychologically where you start to think, okay, we've done 2 seasons. We've had 1 season where it's gone really, really well. Second season's been a bit more of a struggle. But ultimately, if we can get through it, I think psychologically that's massive. That is absolutely massive then to then kick on that third season and to make it more like the first season, if that makes sense. That's what it's going to be all about. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything else you want to touch on about this game, mate. We're coming up to about an hour.
I don't think there's all can say. It was just a good, gritty performance on it that got us a point, and that's it. That's all. Yeah. I think today, when I was at work and I was thinking about it, I was just thinking, just don't get beat. 3 points would have been nice, but just don't get beat, and that would be a whole thing about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of those games where I think a team that's going down loses that game tonight. It's naught because 1 Palace away, but I think a team that's hopefully staying up, I think we've got a good chance now. I think we've got a better chance now than what we did before the game kicks off. I think we've improved our chances. Yeah, I'd definitely say that. I think a point, you've got to remember the games are running out as well for these teams below us. In terms of any points that's putting us a little bit further ahead is massive now at this stage of the season. This isn't like the start of the season where a point's nothing really. A point's pretty big at this stage because Everton have got to win a game now Everton have got to win 2 games to go ahead of us now. So that's massive now. With 5 games to go, and that's without us getting a point ourselves. So you just think it's all psychological, I think, Jack. I think, we had this situation 2 years ago, didn't we, where trying to get out of the league, where we had that little short gap on Brentford and West Brom, Fulham, I think we were around there as well. I know it's a different kind of circumstances. We were winning most weeks then, but it's a similar kind of thing. It's all psychological. One team does one thing, you've got to react to it. Burnley won. We reacted to it tonight. We got a really, really good point on the road at Palace. We'll see what the other teams do this weekend. etc., etc. We've just got to react to it and make sure. And that's it, really. I don't think there's anything else we can really discuss on it, to be honest.
No, I don't think there is. It's just a good point, isn't it? Yeah. It's a good point, and that's it. That's all you can look at. With a very, very, very probably the equally toughest game we'll have all year at Ellen Road, Man City.
Yeah.
So that's it. I think it's one of them. We're going to go into it. I think 99% of Leeds fans are going to go into it thinking we're going to get beat. You know, we know the golfing class. They've got obviously better players than us. But I just think that one chance, you know, will we get that one break, that one chance? You know, we keep them quiet till 70th minute. They start getting a bit nervy, and especially if Liverpool beat Newcastle the day before, they get nervy and they go a bit more gung-ho. You know, you never know, do you? You never know. We could do it. We could beat them.
Absolutely, mate. Look,
we could beat them.
Palace got a point off City. We've just drawn with Palace. You know what I mean? It's just these little things, you know. The season's been very, very unpredictable. I know, obviously, Liverpool and City have warped it kind of in terms of how far ahead of everyone else they are. But I still feel that title race, every single battle that's going on, title race, top four, relegation battle, I still feel there's a twist in that lot. There's still points to be gained. There's still momentum to change in that lot. Hopefully, it's not a twist in our battle, to be fair. We just moved further clear. But
I think there's going to be a lot of twists in every single part of this league this year. Yeah, there's going
to be a lot.
I would not, I'm telling you now, I would not be surprised if Villa don't get dragged down there.
Could happen.
I wouldn't be surprised if Villa don't get dragged down there now. I wouldn't.
They've got to play Burnley twice. That's what you got to remember. They've got to play Burnley twice.
That's what I mean.
You know, we'll see. But guys, we'll leave it there anyway. We'll leave it there anyway. Make sure you smash that like button. Absolutely fantastic support tonight, guys. Just looking to on a cold Monday night after a 0-0. Absolutely superb support, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button as well. I'm going to do a quick 10-minute brief overview of the game as well, just get a bit more content out there too. Make sure you check out Scott's post-match as well. Phil's going to be doing the player ratings tomorrow night at 8:30, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I believe it's 8:30. And yeah, we're straight into the City game as well. Back end of the week. We'll leave it there, I think, guys. Massive thanks to you for all watching, and everything will be okay. I think. I think. It's
we feel a bit better. We feel a bit better tonight. Feel
a bit better. We're fine. Calm, guys. Calm. We'll leave it there, guys. Thanks so much for watching. See you later.
Thank you.